Hello, sixth period. How are we doing? I'm assuming tired. It's sixth period and most of us are wrapping our days up. Well, in this presentation, I will be talking about something we all love and will probably do after school: sleep. We'll be looking into the science of sleep. I will be discussing about what sleep is, why we feel the need to sleep, why we actually need to sleep, and how much sleep we should actually be getting. I hope this presentation doesn't make you too sleepy. Alright, before we begin, this is a presentation and I want you guys to actually learn from this, so if you need the video paused, just yell pause or something like that. Let's begin. So, what is sleep? According to the Google Dictionary, sleep is a condition where your body's nervous system is inactive, your eyes are closed, your muscles are relaxed, and your subconscious is suspended. Sleeping, however, is a lot more in-depth and complex than just closing your eyes at night and opening them back up in the morning. Sleep consists of 5 phases. Stages 1, 2, 3, and 4 make up NREM, and the other stage of sleep is REM. These together make up what is known as the sleep cycle. Stage 1 is the phase of light sleep. At this stage, you can easily be awoken and your muscles and brain activity start to slow. You're falling into a deep sleep until you start feeling yourself falling, then bam! You open your eyes to only realize you weren't actually falling. This experience is called a hypnic jerk, which is an involuntary muscle spasm that happens randomly. Most of you have experienced this phenomenon. Hypnic jerks get your heart rushing, cause stress, and they suck altogether. Why do they happen though? No one knows the definite answer to why they happen. What we do know is hypnic jerks are most common at stage 1 of sleep. One theory suggests that the relaxation of our muscles make our bodies think that we're actually falling, but this hasn't been confirmed. Stage 2 is when things get even slower. This stage is where we actually spend most of our time during sleep. Our eyes stop moving and our brain waves become slower. In this stage, we also experience sleep spindles. When looking at the brainwaves of sleeping participants, rapid bursts of sleep spindles are recorded. They show up on an EEG as rapid bursts of activity that last around 0.5 seconds, and they consist of 12 Hz to 14 Hz waves. An EEG, short for electroencephalogram, is a test that records brain activity by attaching electrodes to one's scalp. Stage 3 is when things become very slow. Stage 3 and 4 are known as deep sleep. This stage is where delta waves begin to appear. Delta waves are high amplitude brain waves similar to sleep spindles, and they also seem to give beneficial bonuses. The benefits of delta waves are they help with deep sleep and healing, proper body functions, and empathy. They are recorded on an EEG with a frequency from 0.4 Hz to 4 Hz. It's difficult to wake a person up during this stage. Stage 4 is the slowest stage of sleep. The brain only produces delta waves at this stage. Since this is the deepest part of sleep, people who are awoken in this stage are usually confused and disoriented. REM sleep is the most interesting part of the sleep cycle. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and this stage occurs throughout the sleep cycle and starts to happen around the first 90 minutes of sleep. During REM sleep, your eyes rapidly move, hence the name. Your breathing quickens and becomes shallow, and your limbs muscles are paralyzed. The first stage of REM lasts for around 10 minutes, and each stage increases in time length. Scientists suggest that preventing someone from entering REM sleep leads to insanity, and the lack of REM sleep can cause depression. So yeah, REM sleep is pretty important. REM sleep is also when dreams occur. When scientists monitor brain activity of people who are in REM sleep, they see high brain activity similar to being awake. Brain activity during REM sleep can even be higher than when awake. Dreams make you feel like you're awake, which can be the cause of the high brain activity. Now, I want you to think of the dream you had last night. Most of you likely can't remember it, or you remember very vague parts. Those who think they didn't dream anything are actually wrong. Now you may be thinking, how do you know? I was the one sleeping. Well, everyone dreams every night. The reason you thought you didn't dream was because you forget most of these dreams by the time you wake up. Enough about what sleep is. Let's talk about the science of why we want to sleep. Everyone craves sleep, especially teenagers. But why do we crave sleep? Humans, animals, plants, and even fungi have this thing called circadian rhythms. This is a 24-hour cycle that dictates your sleep schedule. One of the chemicals that causes desire for sleep is melatonin. The abundance of melatonin in the brain makes you feel the need to sleep. The reason we feel the need to sleep in the night and not in the day is because of the pineal gland. Light from the sun or computer screens causes the pineal gland to send signals to the brain, preventing the creation of melatonin. Now we know when melatonin is produced, let's talk about how melatonin is synthesized. I'll try my best to keep this picture as simple as possible. Melatonin comes from an amino acid called tryptophan, which goes from the blood to the pineal gland. If you actually paid attention in biology, you would know that amino acids are the building blocks to proteins. Tryptophan is then converted into another amino acid called 5-hydroxytryptophan through the help of an enzyme called tryptophan hydroxylase. Again, if you paid attention in biology, you would know an enzyme is a catalyst that speeds up the rate of chemical reactions. 5-hydroxytryptophan is then converted into a neurotransmitter called serotonin, again with the help of an enzyme called aromatic amino acid decarboxylase. In order to convert serotonin to melatonin, serotonin is converted into N-acetylserotonin with yet again the help of an enzyme called serotonin N-acetyltransferase, or SNAT for short. Finally, N-acetylserotonin is converted into melatonin with the help of one final enzyme called hydroxyndole O-methyltransferase. And voila, you got yourself some melatonin. Congratulations. Hold on now. Remember how light prevents the creation of melatonin? Well, this chemical process explains why light does this. SNAT is produced the most in the dark. Light prevents the creation of melatonin because light sends signals that travel from your retina to your pineal gland that basically tell your brain, hey, it's daytime, we don't need SNAT, get rid of it. And without SNAT, your body can't make melatonin. So after hearing that long process your body went through just to get you ready for sleep, think twice about pulling out your phone before you go to sleep. Melatonin doesn't deserve all the credit. Adenosine is another chemical that helps with the sleep process. The role of adenosine is to slow down the activity of neurons, meaning it slows down brain activity. Adenosine builds up as you're awake, which is why by the end of the day you're exhausted. When you go to sleep, that adenosine that built up in your body throughout the day is broken down and the cycle starts again when you wake up the next day. Adenosine is able to make you tired by binding to adenosine receptors. These receptors then tell your body to make proteins which suppress your cell nerves activity, causing the drowsy feeling. But why? Why do our bodies go through all of these chemical processes just to make us fall asleep? Why do we need to sleep? Scientists don't have a definite answer on why animals need to sleep. It's obvious sleep leaves us refreshed and with more energy, and the lack of sleep leaves us drowsy and exhausted. Although we don't have a definite answer as of now, research has not left us empty-handed. The Division of Sleep Medicine at Harvard Medical School has provided us with 4 theories on why we need sleep. The inactivity theory suggests that animals evolved to sleep during the night to prevent themselves from getting harmed in the dark. Sleep provided a way for animals to stay calm during the night in order to keep themselves from having incidents with predators. However, this theory is flawed with the fact that it's obviously better to be conscious than to be unconscious if you want to stay alert. The energy conservation theory suggests that animals sleep in order to conserve their energy. If an animal is in an environment without lots of food, it would be best to conserve as much energy as possible. And since it isn't very effective to search for food during the night, animals use that time to sleep instead. When asleep, the body's demands decrease and the energy metabolism is heavily reduced by as much as 10% in humans and even more in other animals. So it's clear on how sleep can help us conserve energy. An example we all know of animals conserving energy is hibernating bears. Bears eat as much food as possible and then sleep in order to conserve all that food. Many scientists agree that this theory goes with the inactivity theory as well. The restorative theory is a theory most of us are acquainted with. As stated in the name, the restorative theory suggests that animals sleep in order to restore what was lost in their bodies throughout the day. Many studies conducted on humans and animals suggest that sleep is a way our bodies repair and refresh themselves. Experiments where animals were deprived of sleep lost all immune function and died shortly after. Findings also show that sleep is the time that restorative functions usually occur. Functions such as muscle growth, the creation of proteins, tissue repair, and growth hormones are the restorative functions happening as you sleep. So, if you want to grow as tall as me, you better get your sleep. Hey, cognitive function also increases after sleep. As mentioned before, adenosine builds up in your body while you're awake, and adenosine gradually declines brain activity. Sleep breaks down adenosine and allows us to become more alert the next day. Last and probably the most compelling theory is the brain plasticity theory. Findings show that sleep plays a critical role in the way our brains organize. Not only does it organize our brains, but sleep also changes the structure of our brains. The plasticity in the brain is involved with learning and memory, which may be why losing sleep causes memory problems, focusing problems, and problems with keeping our emotions under control. A way sleep may affect the plasticity of our brains is through the beneficial effects it has on our synapses, which are the connections between neurons. Sleep and the lack of sleep seem to affect a person's ability to learn and perform tasks, which is why sleep is crucial for the development of infants. This is why infants spend 13 to 14 hours sleeping, and half of it is spent in REM. That leads us into my final question. How many hours of sleep do we actually need to function properly? There isn't a magic number on how many hours we actually need to function properly. The amount of sleep a person needs varies from person to person, but generally adults need around 7 to 9 hours of sleep to function normally, while us teenagers need around 8 to 10 hours. There are some people where this general amount of hours just don't apply. Long sleepers are people who actually require more than 10 hours of sleep in order to function properly, while short sleepers are people who require as little as 3 hours of sleep to function properly. However, the amount of people who are able to sleep for as little as 3 hours are extremely small, so I highly recommend you stick with your 8 to 10 hours of sleep. As you've seen and heard throughout this presentation, sleep is a lot more complex than it appears to be. With all this information in mind, I hope that all of you will start or continue to take your sleep seriously. Your body goes through lots of processes to make sure you actually get your sleep. After all, sleep plays a critical role in making sure all your necessary functions work properly and that you develop into your fullest potential. But I highly doubt any of you will fix your sleep schedules. That concludes my presentation. Thanks for watching, class.